I graduated high school when I was 16 years old, and I got a full scholarship to a very well-respected music program at a major university. I would have graduated with my bachelor's degree before I was even legally old enough to drink alcohol. But I gave it all up after one semester. What happened? Hindsight being 2020, I know now what went wrong and what could have been done to prevent my giving up music forever, I thought. Spoiler alert, I came back to piano. But I think there's something here that you can use. And I'm going to share my experience with you because it can help you see places where you may be holding yourself back or being held back in things that you want to achieve, whether it's piano or something else. And maybe my experience will help you to see a different way. All right, let's go back in time. As early as 7th grade, I was about 12 years old, telling my mom, because I was too shy to tell my piano teacher, that I wanted to play pop music as well as classical music. And my mom mentioned it to my piano teacher, and my piano teacher said, "Oh no, you're much too sensitive to play that stuff." Looking back now, I'm sure she believed what she was saying, but also she was a classical pianist in the traditional sense. She had never been taught anything else and didn't play any kind of music other than classical. That was her field of expertise, and I'm sure she didn't know how to handle what I was asking for. So between then and college, I would buy pop music, like sheet music, and I would try to play it. And even though I could play at like a really high level, works by Bach and Beethoven and Chopin, looking at the rhythms in those pop music arrangements, I was really lost. I didn't know how to interpret them. And the ones that I did play didn't sound like what I was hearing on the radio. So I did try on my own, and I didn't have anyone to teach me. So when I got to college, I looked ahead at my life, and I saw myself becoming what I was seeing around me, basically graduating with my bachelor's degree, maybe getting a master's, and then settling down into the local music community, teaching piano, accompanying singers, accompanying instrumentalists, maybe having a classical, trio or quartet, something like that. And I just want to say there is nothing wrong with that. But I knew I didn't want it, and I for sure did not want to be a classical pianist going around the world and doing concerts by myself. It wasn't my thing. So when I was taking these college classes, my first semester, and just seeing okay, this is basically a continuation of what I've been doing, I looked at my future and I wasn't excited about it. It was not what I wanted. So the number one thing that got in my way was I didn't have a future that was compelling to me in a positive way. It wasn't something that I wanted. So I felt like the work I was about to put in these 4 years of college was going to be just more of the same of what I wasn't all that excited about growing up, even though I like classical music, I love classical music, but I wanted more. So looking ahead, I didn't see anything different. There was nothing that excited me about the future of going the path that I was on. So there was no point to it in my mind. So if you are applying this to your own life, and if you're learning piano or something else, if you don't see a future that excites you, chances are you're not going to stay the course. So either change your goal or adapt it so that whatever it is you're working for is exciting for you, and the journey is also exciting. Like the road has to be exciting as well. It has to make sense for you, and it has to be something that you want. The second thing I saw in looking back, I had been trained so well in music theory that I tested out of the entire first year of the freshman music theory courses. I didn't need to take them. I was good. Well, this was not really wise on the part of, the people who had structured the program, because those freshman theory classes is where everybody met everybody else. That's where everybody, like all the instrumentalists, all the singers, everyone who was entering that music program was taking those theory classes, and they were forming friendships and bonds and a community, and I wasn't involved in that. So put it together, early graduating from high school, so I'm already younger than everybody else, a little less experienced, maybe a lot less experienced in life, and I wasn't put in a class where I got to meet people. That was the second strike against me continuing the music program. I didn't really know anybody. I would go to the classes and kind of feel like a stranger because everybody had already established friendships in the theory classes, which were like, in the mornings. So the second thing that may get in the way of you achieving a goal is that you don't have a community. You don't have a supportive community. People who are going through the same thing you are, that you can bounce ideas off of and, kind of commiserate with and just be together. All right, here's the third strike against me. So because I didn't want to be the traditional, classical pianist that people think of, a classical piano teacher, that sort of thing, and this was before the days of YouTube, I didn't really have any role models for anything else that I could do as a classically trained pianist. I knew that I wanted to play other types of music, like I really wanted to play in bands. I wanted to learn jazz. I wanted to learn different kinds of music. I wanted to learn improvising, playing by ear. Here's the irony of ironies. I started out as a child playing piano by ear, and that's why I was put in piano lessons. But very quickly in piano lessons, I was discouraged from playing by ear. Not because someone told me don't do that, but because my plate was so full with all the things that I had to learn, reading music theory, playing all these complicated pieces. There was no time for playing by ear, and I really think even if there was time, my teachers didn't know how to teach it because they didn't do that. Okay, so I wanted all these things. I wanted ways to express myself at the piano that weren't available to me, and I didn't have any role models I could follow. The role models I could see were either classical pianists, like, the good girls that dress a certain way and were kind of nerds. Nothing wrong with being a nerd. I'm a nerd. Or you were like the rock girl who had very bad technique, who didn't really understand music but could jam, right? Those were the only two paths available to me, and I didn't want to be the classical one, and I didn't know how to be the other one, right? The one that could jam, like could just sit with a bunch of musicians and play. I wanted to be a really well-rounded musician, and I tried. I bought books. I bought courses that would come to me with DVDs. I paid a lot of money to local famous, jazz musicians to teach me how to do what they do. Like, how do you look at a lead sheet and make music out of it? I don't understand. I know theory, but I don't know how to apply it. And almost every single one of these people, and they were all men except for one woman, would say, yeah, sure, I will teach you. And I think they had really good intentions, but they didn't know how to teach me. They would, say, okay, here's all the theory. So they would dump information on me, and then they would sit down and play according to that information. But there was no middle step, here's the information, and these are the small steps that you use to get that information into a usable form. I think of it kind of like having a can of tuna, right? I know what's inside, it's tuna, and I can see other people have opened the can and they're enjoying the tuna, but I don't have a can opener. It felt like that, I knew I wasn't stupid, but for some reason I couldn't get it. And it wasn't until I was in grad school And I was, once again, trying. Like, I kept trying and trying. So obviously I came back to piano, right? But I was in grad school as a music student and taking a course for improvisation. And it was a drummer, a famous drummer, a famous jazz drummer, who taught me the beginnings of understanding how to read a lead sheet and how to start improvising on those changes, on those chords. So the fourth thing going against me was I didn't have a clear path. And even though I tried and tried and tried, it wasn't until I was, a full-on adult before it finally started to click for me because of one man. The fifth thing, now this one is a me problem, which I think I have solved. I had been trained, as most of us are in school, to work for grades maybe I shouldn't say most of us, but in general, school trains us to work for grades, to get good grades, and the grades are based upon somebody else's evaluation of what you know, what you can do. And as a classical pianist going through the competition system and the yearly evaluations, that was really drilled into me, which is how other people see you is very important. And you should base, at least this was in my mind, you should base how good you are according to what other people say about you, right? So the fifth thing going against me was I let the opinions of other people around me dictate what I was doing. So I'll tell you what I mean by that. I remember when I did finally come back to playing the piano, I remember very clearly wanting to crack the code of jazz and people telling me, and again, they were men. I'm not sure why. Jazz is predominantly like male. It's a male oriented, and for me, jazz was like the way of getting into like other kinds of music, right? So they would tell me things like, oh, you're a classical pianist, stay in your lane. Like, don't bother. Oh my gosh, you're so square. Oh, you don't know how to swing. That's a F minor 7 chord. Why can't you figure it out? This sort of thing. Like, it was very, very much like if you don't already know it, it's too late for you. In college, it's too late for you, and also you're not cool, so don't bother. Okay, go into your practice room and practice your classical pieces. This is a feedback I was given a lot by my peers, and unfortunately, I didn't have the strength to say, like, forget you. That's your opinion, man. That's just your opinion, man. This is what I want to do. I didn't have it back then. I do now because clearly I'm on YouTube and there's a lot of like different feedback here. If you're at all afraid of what people are going to say, you should not be on YouTube. So I have definitely conquered that beast. But so the fifth thing that you should really look at is, are you letting other people's opinions tell you what to do and how to think of yourself? Especially if you're an adult and you're trying to learn something new, you're usually not encouraged to do that. And there's a lot of things in your way. So here is the thing not to do, plus what you should do instead. So not having a compelling future that you're working toward, a future that excites you, that no matter what you're doing on the path to that future, you like it, right? I mean, there's, times when you're tired or whatever, but mostly you're really excited about the path. So if you don't have a compelling future, get one. Figure it out. What is it that you want to do? Who do you have to be to get there? And are you enjoying the path? If you're not enjoying the path, take a look at your goal again. There's a happy destination after an unhappy journey. So the journey has to be happy. Number 2, if you don't have a community around you, a supportive community, it's going to be tough. Your community might look like a spouse who's really excited about what you're doing. It could look like an online community like I have. By the way, I'm getting off Facebook and I've created a free again, free group on Patreon that you can join. That is more the community now. Facebook is ridiculous at this point. I'll leave the link below for Patreon. So you want to have the community aspect of it. If you don't, it's really hard to do this or anything big on your own. The third thing is not having role models. Just saying like, oh, I don't know, I want to play piano. Well, who do you want to play like? Who is it that you admire? You know, someone out there encouraged you in some way without even knowing you maybe. You know, you saw somebody playing, you said, I want that. I want to experience that. So you want to have people that you can look at who are doing the thing that you want to do. Not having a clear path. Okay, I see this a lot with adults and piano. Like they'll learn a song here, they'll look at this YouTube tips video, they'll find a hack, and just here and there. And then at the end of a few years, they don't really know much more than they did going in. So they didn't have a clear path to follow. And so things just kind of diffused. They didn't reach where they were going. And this is really sad for me because I think that the reason that you even have a desire is because you're meant to fulfill that desire. I know that sounds kind of woo-woo, but if there's something that you're yearning for, I think that you have to pursue it. If you like really step back for a second and think about what is the point of life, taking religion and all that out of it, in my mind is we came here to express who we are. There's never been another me. There will never be another me. So who is, me? Well, if I look inward at my desires, that will show me what direction I need to go. So when I see an adult telling me, yeah, I tried piano, I've always wanted to play, but I just wasn't good enough or whatever, I think that's really sad. You missed out on an opportunity to do what you came here to do. And the fifth thing is you're letting other people tell you how to live your life. Stop it. Embarrassment will not kill you. So if you play somewhere and you make a mistake, who cares? I've done it lots of times. Even as a professional, it's not the end of the world. If people know that you're learning piano and, you don't feel like you're progressing enough that you can show them, let it go. Let it go. Just you pursuing something that you want to do that isn't, just to make a living or, something that you have to do. Something that you're doing that is expressing your soul, a hobby, if you will, is going to be something in the world that is motivating to other people. Right? And again, just getting a little bit woo-woo, I believe that when people are happy, the world is a better place. You're not likely to commit crimes or any other awful things if you are happy and joyful in your life. So if playing music makes you happy and you shine that light to the people around you and they see it and they say, oh, maybe I can do something too, I believe that this is a way of making the world a better place. So don't let even your thought of what other people might say stand in your way. Don't do it. All right. Did you enjoy this video? Let me know below. And also let me know, is this the first video of mine that you've seen? Or have you been around for a while? Now, if you want to know how I broke the chains of being a classical pianist, you're going to watch this video here, and I'll put it up when it is ready for you. Keep practicing, have fun, and I'll see you soon. Bye.